Episode 3, The Unavailable Mother Welcome to the Seated Heart, where we dive deep into matters of the heart, family, and growth. I'm Jerne, and today's topic is one that affects so many of us, the unavailable mother, whether it's through personal experience or observation. We've all seen the impact of a mother who isn't fully present in her children's lives. This isn't about throwing shade, but about acknowledging a pattern that often leaves deep-rooted scars in families. Growing up, my siblings and I were blessed with strong women, our grandmother and great-grandmother, who were always there for us. There wasn't a day that went by where we couldn't count on them. If we needed a meal, comfort, or even just a place to feel safe, their doors were always open. But then there was my mom, and it's taken me years to come to terms with this, but she was the opposite. She was present physically, but emotionally and mentally, she was often elsewhere, prioritizing her relationships with men over us. That hurt, and it still does. And I'm not saying this to put my mother down, but to highlight a reality that so many children of emotionally unavailable mothers face. This isn't just my story. It's the story of so many children who grow up feeling like they're competing with their mother's romantic relationships. It's the feeling of calling and never getting an answer, of needing emotional support and feeling like it's just not available. I look back on the relationship my mom had with us versus what my grandmother gave, and I can't help but see the stark difference. My grandmother, and even my great-grandmother, were pillars. They didn't put anything above their family, and I think that's why I feel such a strong connection to them today. But this is bigger than my family. How many of us know mothers, or have been raised by mothers, who prioritize their partners or their own needs over their children? It's something that isn't talked about enough. We grow up thinking that our mothers are supposed to be there no matter what. But what happens when they're not? What happens when the very person who is supposed to nurture you is emotionally absent? There are millions of mothers who, for various reasons, whether it's trauma past hurts or societal pressures, put themselves first in ways that affect their kids. And while self-care is important, when it comes at the expense of your children's emotional well-being, it leaves deep, sometimes lifelong wounds. I've had to work through my own hurt and disappointment, and part of that process is recognizing that my mother wasn't perfect. But she's human. That doesn't mean excusing the behavior, but it does mean learning how to heal from it and not let it define my worth or my ability to love. So, to anyone listening who resonates with this, I want you to know that your worth doesn't come from your mother's availability or lack thereof. The seeds of love and care that weren't planted by your mother can still be sown within yourself. It's hard, but it's possible. Let's think about how do we heal from this and make sure we don't pass it on to the next generation. Thank you for joining me today on The Seated Heart. Let's keep tending to our hearts and planting seeds that will grow in love, availability, and presence. Until next time, keep healing.